we're going to recognize and honor some of our employees who are no longer with us.
Please have a moment of silence for the following individuals that recently passed away. Mr. Emil Fungi, retired school bus operator. Mr. Eddie Domingue, retired custodian. Ms. Gloria Haydale, retired school librarian. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Voisin. The school board meeting of June 4th, 2024 is called to order. Invocation. Mr. Cloutier, would you do it for us tonight?
Absolutely.
And our pledge?
Yes.
Excuse me, Dr. Cloutier.
Lord, we just thank you for the privilege and opportunity of being here tonight. We ask, Lord God, that you would be in our conversations and in our issues, that you would give us your wisdom, your knowledge, and your understanding on all of these that would come before us this evening. Lord, we pray for our parish and the surrounding area. We thank you for your protection in this upcoming hurricane season, that you would keep us safe and free from harm. And again, Lord, we just thank you for the privilege of serving the people of this parish and the youth and the children of this parish. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Brunet, roll call.
Mr. Michael LaGorn. Mr. Gregory Harding.
Here.
Mr. Matthew Ford.
Here.
Mrs. Debbie Benoit.
Here.
Mr. Don Crowdis.
Here.
Dr. Bud Kluche.
Here.
Mr. Roger Dale DeHart.
Here.
Dr. Maybelle Trahan.
Here.
And Mr. Dane Bozan.
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 5 on the agenda, approval of the school board meeting of May 2nd. Recommendation that the board approve the minutes of the school board meeting of May 7th as recorded.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. DeHart,
Second.
second by Mr. Voisin. Any public comment? Mr. DeHart?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Voisin?
No, ma'am.
Any other board members? Any objections? None heard, so ordered. Announcements. On the June 11th, we will have our committee meetings. It has been brought up forward for a week because of some obligations some of us has on the following week. We're going to be starting at 5 o'clock with Finance, Insurance, and Section 16 Lands Committee. It's followed by Executive Committee, Buildings, Food Service, and Transportation, and finally, Education, Technology, and Policy. On the 25th of June, we will have a special school board meeting, which is a superintendent's evaluation. Board members, you will find packets at your seats this evening. Those forms are, be so kind to get them back to myself and Mr. Ogeron by the 18th. On the 2nd of July, we have our regular school board meeting. Item number 7A, we're moving to Education, Technology, and Policy Report, and that is Ms. Benoit.
Thank you, Dr. Trahan. The Education, Technology, and Policy Committee met at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, in the boardroom of the school board office, with the following members present. Mr. Gregory Harding, Vice Chair, ran the meeting, and started the meeting, and also present was Mr. Roger Dale DeHart. I was late for the meeting and entered after the first item was discussed. Also in attendance was Dr. Maybelle Trahan, Mr. Dane Bozan, Dr. Bud Kluche, interim school board member, Mr. Matthew Ford, Mr. Don Crowdis, and Superintendent Bubba Ogeron, and members of the staff. There was only one recommendation in this meeting, and that was that the committee recommends that the board approve and accept as presented the interagency agreement between Terrebonne Parish School District and Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government on behalf of its Head Start program for the 2024-25 school year, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Voisin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ford. Any public comment? Mr. Voisin? Mr. Ford?
No, ma'am.
Any board members? Any objections? Hearing none, so moved. There were several presentations by the district managers and about their programs, but other than that, only one recommendation, and so there was no further business, and we adjourned at 5:48.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 7B, Finance. Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Madam President. The Finance, Insurance, and Section 16 Lands Committee met immediately following the 5 p.m. Education, Technology, and Policy Committee meeting on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, in the boardroom of the school board office with the following members present: myself as chair, Mr. Don Crowdis as vice chair, and Dr. Bud Kluche as interim school board member and member of the committee. Also in attendance were Dr. Maybelle Trahan, Mr. Dane Voisin, Ms. Debbie Benoit, Mr. Roger Del Dehart, Mr. Gregory Harding, Superintendent Bubba Ogeron, and members of his staff. We did have a few recommendations come before the committee, but if it'll please the board, I want to pull recommendation number 1 due to some ongoing contractual negotiations, and we're going to follow up with this at a later time. On to number 2, recommendation number 2. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal offer for excess casualty insurance from Lloyd's of London, Ambridge, Arthur J. Gallagher of Louisiana, Inc., broker of record, covering the automobile liability, general liability, errors and omissions liability, and sexual abuse harassment liability with limits of $2 million per occurrence, with a $4 million general aggregate limit for general liability, $2 million per accident for auto liability, and $2 million per claim for errors and omissions, and $1 million for sexual abuse/harassment liability, subject to $500,000 self-insured retention with an annual premium of $270,622.04, rejecting uninsured or underinsured motorist liability and terrorism, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Cloche, seconded by Mr. Dehart. Any public comment? Dr. Cloche?
No.
Mr. Dehart?
No, sir.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, so ordered. Item number 4, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal for cyber liability insurance from Houston Casualty USI Insurance Services, LLC, broker of record, with,
You skipped number 3, sir.
It's at the end of, right under number 2.
you're right, I did. My apologies. Recommendation number 3, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal offer for boiler and machinery insurance from Travelers Insurance Company, Arthur J. Gallagher of Louisiana, Inc., broker of record, with an annual premium of $15,873, subject to a $2,500 deductible, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dehart, second by Dr. Cloutier. Any public comment? Mr. Dehart?
No, sir.
Dr. Cloutier?
No, sir.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Now, recommendation number 4. Committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal for cyber liability insurance from Houston Casualty USI Services, LLC, broker of record, with an annual premium of $53,428.41, subject to a $100,000 deductible, with limits of $1 million, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Crowdis, seconded by Dr. Cloutier. Any public comment? Mr. Crowdis? Dr. Cloutier?
Nothing.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. Recommendation number 5, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal for excess workers' compensation insurance from Midwest Employers Casualty USI Insurance Services LLC is a broker of record with $500,000 self-insured retention effective July 1st, 2024 through July 1st, 2026, with a minimum annual premium in the amount of $104,285. Moved by Mr. Crowdis. Second by Dr. Cloutier. Any public comment? Mr. Crowdis? Dr. Cloutier? Any other board members?
I just have
Just,
one
to-
question.
oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Go ahead.
Mr. Boisier?
Just looking at all the money we're spending on insurance, it's just eye-opening, it's like, gosh, look how much
Been like
money we
that for
would have.
years.
And it's just taking a chance. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, I'm done.
Ms. Benoit?
That's a good segue into my question.
Okay.
We have a minimum of 104,000. What's the maximum, do we know?
We asked that question at the committee meeting, and there was no answer as far as what the maximum is. What we were told is that generally have a 2 to 3% increase.
If you'd like Curtis to come up.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
Mr. Curtis wants to give a more definitive answer, but that's what was discussed at committee.
Yes, ma'am, the 104,000 is based on our current projected salaries. It's kind of like disability insurance, it's based on how much you earn. So if we have a outrageous number of hires, it could drive the premium up. Or if we have a lot of people let go, then maybe it'll go down, but probably not. The thing is we say projected is because usually around January, February, we do a audit of our payroll. Ms. Boudreaux is very good at taking care of that, and we will report that audit to them. On the worst I've ever seen it go was $5,000, $6,000 difference. And that all depends upon what our audit shows.
So it's a monthly payment that based on whatever
No,
payroll
we'll
is?
pay a one-time payment. What will happen in February is if they see that we paid out more than we told them we would, usually because we have more hires than we projected, we'll pay a catch-up. It'll be like a one-time payment of $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000.
Is it ever less?
I
No,
haven't
because we
s- I
pay in the
haven't seen
minimum
it-
regardless,
I
we're
haven't
paying the
seen it
minimum.
happen, right.
Yeah, okay.
So-
And this is one where we do spend a lot of money on workers' comp. We have a lot of workers' comp cases, so it's a needed product.
Any other board members? Mr. Curtis, I did have a question because, well, if you could just make this clear, because I think if anyone's watching or maybe here, they may not understand. Workers' compensation is something we're required to carry, but this is in excess to that workers' compensation, correct?
This is the excess.
Okay.
We carry the first 500,000 ourselves. The
Okay.
first 500,000 is us. When we go over 500,000, then they come in.
Okay.
And we have a case that I inherited that's probably 15, 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
That we are still paying on. Well, actually, there's probably two of them. One with a person who lost an eye. And the eye has to be maintained, the artificial eye has to be maintained, so it's going over the 500,000, so whenever they go to the doctor or something, the bill is paid, we pay it, and we get reimbursed from the insurance company. And that's pretty much how it works, so that whatever goes over that 500,000, we are reimbursed. But we got two cases been going on over a decade, and that's how it is with a workers' comp thing. There is no pain and suffering in workers' comp. They pay you to get better or to get whole or close to whole as possible. And sometimes it might be $200-300, but sometimes it could go over that 500,000 for sure.
Well, that does clear up a lot. That makes a lot more sense if you look at it that way. Thank you, sir. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Item number 6, recommendation, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal of office supply catalog contract with Louisiana Office Products, Inc., 210 Edwards Avenue in Harahan, Louisiana, 70123, for a 12-month period from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, under the same term and conditions upon mutual agreement between Terrebonne Parish School Board and Louisiana Office Products, Inc.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Benoit,
Second.
second by Dr. Cloutier. Any public comment? Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Dr. Cloutier?
Thank you.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. Recommendation number 7, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the Courier to serve as the official journal for the Terrebonne Parish School Board at the current rates, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Benoit, seconded by Dr. Trahan. Any public comment? Going once. Ms. Benoit?
My only public comment is it's required and we have no choice, so, yeah, we're voting on it.
Ditto, Ms. Benoit.
Mr. Dior?
You know I'm gonna ask a question. You don't have to come up to the mic. Whenever I got on this board, it was required that they had a circulation of a certain amount. The Home Courier don't have no circulation. So anything has changed, Ms. Dugas? The hum, how can they require, you can't find a Homer Courier in the city of Homer? I think we need to check that out.
Mr. DeHart, we reviewed the recommendations, they do meet the requirements.
I don't know where y'all got y'all information from. Find me a Homer Courier. Okay, I'm still gonna vote against it because they're a daily rag.
Any other board members? Any objection?
I object.
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
Just,
Krause.
just in, so there's like nothing, like there's no other way to do this.
You open a business?
Yeah, no. Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Ford?
Yes,
Just one
Dr. Trahan.
statement, if y'all ever need the courier, it's still delivered to my mailbox every day, because I have a subscription.
Really?
There's your one subscriber.
She's probably the only one.
But my husband loves to read the paper, the actual paper, so I still have that subscription, excuse me.
Prescription too.
I said prescription. That might have been a Freudian slip.
So I did have concerns, just like I do every year with this situation. And I'm gonna make it a point from tomorrow out to start looking at either reaching out to our representatives, senators, congress people in Louisiana to see if we can get some legislation changed, because it's not even anything against the Homer Courier. It's just people want to do this job. They want to be our courier of record, and they can't because of the legislation. And the Homer Courier doesn't want to be our courier of record, but they kind of have to because of the way it's written. So it's time we make a change. And in the world we live in today with electronic media, I think it's time that, we revisit this. So any objections along with myself?
I object, but I got one more comment, if you will allow me.
Yes, Mr. DeHart.
We used to have a representative from the Homer Courier almost at every meeting years back. I can count on one hand. I only got 5 fingers. How many times we've seen him here in the last year? People is not getting information. If it wouldn't be televised, they wouldn't know what's going on in the school system. And parents know what's going on with their children, but as far as the public, they don't know. Advertisement for all kind of commodities and services. I really think we lose out on some people that maybe don't make aware of it, and I know our staff tries to, make sure everybody's aware whenever we have business that we need to conduct. But the Homer Couriers get paid, in my opinion, strictly my opinion, they get paid for nothing.
They're providing the services we pay them.
Yeah.
We don't pay to advertise on our behalf. It's just for the advertisements.
Thank you, and it's not reflected on you. I know you're doing everything you can.
Yeah, so for those that may not be here to hear what Ms. Dugas said, that, you know, we pay the courier for the advertisement that we're required to put out, and they're doing that. So I'm not saying they're not doing their job. It's just, we don't have a good, intimate relationship with them like I think we should with our Journal of Records, so.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir, Dr. Clucci.
And maybe legal would have you to answer this. So it has to be a method within our parish. We can't use a state journal.
And I don't have the recommendation right, I mean, the requirements right in front of me, but if we evaluated it, this was the only one that met the requirement.
I had that feeling. Yeah, thank you.
You're in number 8.
You had something to say?
No,
Okay.
no, thank you, appreciate it.
All right. Any objections?
Yes, I
Yes.
object.
2 objections.
Got 'em down.
With 2 objections,
Number
the
8.
recommendation still passes. We're on to recommendation number 8. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the following highest bids received, meeting all specifications for hunting and trapping leases on Section 16 lands for a 5-year period beginning June 5th, 2024 through June 4th, 2029. Allow the purchasing department to re-advertise those sections where no bid was received and/or those sections in which leases were surrendered, and further authorize the board president to sign all documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dehart,
Second.
second by Ms. Benoit. Any public comment? Mr. Dehart?
No, sir. Glad to see the bids we received.
Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. There being no further business to come before the Finance, Insurance, and Section 16 Lands Committee, the meeting adjourned at 7:17 PM, and I turn the meeting back over to you, Dr. Strong.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Item 7C is Executive Committee. Dear members of the board, the Executive Committee met immediately after the 5 PM Education, Technology, and Policy Committee and the Finance, Insurance, and Section 16 Lands Committee meetings on Tuesday, May 14, 2024, in the boardroom of the school board office with the following members present. Myself, President, Mr. Dane Voisin, Vice President, Mr. Michael Lagarde. Also in attendance were Dr. Cloche, Ms. Benoit, Mr. Ford, Mr. DeHart, Mr. Crowder, and Mr. Harding, Mr. Ogeron, and members of his staff. The meeting was called to order. The Executive Committee examined and authorized payment of invoices for the current month, including supplemental payroll and expenses. There were no committee concerns. Is there a motion to accept the report? Motion by Mr. Cloche, second by Mr. Voisin. Any public comment? Ms. Cloche? Mr. Voisin?
Nope.
Any other board members? Any objections?
I object.
One, record one objection. Item passes. Moving on to 7D, Buildings, Food Service, and Transportation Committee report. Mr. Voisin.
Thank you, Madam President. The BFT committee met after following all other school board committees on Tuesday, May 14, 2024, with all committee members present and all other board members also present, along with Mr. Ogeron, superintendent, and members of his staff. Recommendation number 1 is pulled for tonight. We're going to go to recommendation number 2. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the lowest bid received, meeting all specifications on meats and frozen items for the 24-25 school year from Pond Food Corporation, DBA Gold Star Foods, Inc., Ponchatoula, Louisiana, in the amount of $953,957.39. Funds to be derived from Child Nutrition Program Fund.
So,
So move Mr. Crowder, second Ms. Benoit. Any public comments? Mr. Crowder? Ms. Benoit? Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 3, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the lowest bids received, meeting all specifications on canned and dry goods for the 24-25 school year from Pond Food Corporation, DBA Gold Star Foods, Inc., Ponchatoula, Louisiana, in the amount of $420,338.38, and East Side Jersey Dairy Prairie Farms, Hammond, Louisiana, in the amount of $72,900. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund. So move Mr. Crowder.
Second.
Second, Dr. Trahan. I knew that's what was coming up. Public comments? Mr. Crowdis? Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 4, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the lowest bid received, meeting all specifications on fruit juice for the 24-25 school session from Lacasang Inc., Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the amount of $146,906. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund.
So moved.
So move, Ms. Benoit. Second, Mr. Crowdis. Any public comments? Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Mr. Crowdis? Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 5, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the lowest bid received, meaning all specifications on fresh fruits and vegetables for the 24-25 school session from Capital City Produce, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the amount of $90,000. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund. So move, Mr. Crowdis. Second, Ms. Benoit. Any public comments? Mr. Crowdis? Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 6, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the proposal meeting all specifications for concentrated detergents for the 24-25 school year, with the option to extend the contract for an additional 3 years from Sanitec System, Lakeland, Florida, in the amount of $58,237. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund.
So moved.
So move, Dr. Trahan.
Second.
Second, Ms. Benoit. Any public comments? Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 7, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal of the contracts for kitchen equipment repair services, Section 1, and refrigeration repair services, Section 2, from the following vendors for a period of 12 months, July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, upon mutual agreement of Terrebonne Parish School Board and the awarded vendor under the same terms and conditions.
So moved.
So move, Mr. Dehart. Second, Dr. Trahan. Any public comments? Mr. Dehart?
Glad to get the same terms and conditions.
Amen.
That's rare today.
Good. Dr. Trahan?
Yeah, no, sir.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 8, recommendation number 8, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the lowest bids received, meeting all specifications for the following maintenance, supplies, equipment, 24-25 school year, and allow purchasing department to re-advertise those sections where no bid was received.
So moved.
So move, Mr. Dehart. Second, Mr. Crowdis. Any public comments? Mr. Dehart?
No, sir. Thank
Mr.
you.
Crowdis? Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 9, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal of the contract for grease trap and sewer sump station services from Vinnie's Sewer Treatment Plant, Berg, Louisiana, for a period of 12 months, July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, upon mutual agreement of Terrebonne Parish School Board and the awarded vendor under the same terms and conditions.
So moved.
So move, Ms. Benoit.
Second.
Second, Dr. Trahan. Public comments? Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 10, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal of the contract for kitchen hood and fire suppression system inspections and repair services from SafeWorks Safety Solutions, LLC, Houma, Louisiana, for a period of 12 months, July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, upon mutual agreement of Terrebonne Parish School Board and the awarded vendor under the same terms and conditions.
So moved.
So move, Mr. Dehart. Second, Dr. Trahan. Any public comments? Mr. Dehart?
No, sir.
Dr.
Thank you.
Trahan?
No, sir.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 11, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal of the contract for fire extinguisher inspection and maintenance services from SafeWorks Safety Solutions, LLC, Houma, Louisiana, for a period of 12 months, July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, upon mutual agreement of Terrebonne Parish School Board and the awarded vendor under the same terms and conditions.
So moved.
So move, Mr. Dehart. Second, Mr. Crowdis. Any public comments? Mr. Dehart?
No, sir.
Mr. Crowdis? Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 12, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 3 for the building repair project in response to Hurricane Ida at Byrd Elementary School in the amount of $3,013 to replace damaged standing seam roof panels in three locations of classroom building 300, and to increase the contract time by 56 days from May 4th, 2024 to June 29, 2024. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds, $2,711.70, and local funds, $301.30, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
So move Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Crowdis. Public comments? Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Crowdis? Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 13, the committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Thompson, Luke and Associates for plans and specifications for an HVAC replacement upgrade project at Coteau Bayou Blue Elementary School. Establish a budget in the amount of $2 million. Funds to be derived from previously budgeted funds in the building fund. Authorize the advertising of bids and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Mr. Ford. Second, Dr. Traha. Any public comments? Mr. Ford?
I have a question, maybe Superintendent Ogeron knows. Is there going to be a delay on getting this started after we approve this, or are they going to be in there like within a week, kind of trying to work things out? Okay.
Maybe Sammy might have a little more information on that. Sammy, do you know that offhand?
What was the question?
How quickly will they set up and be able to start the project at Coteau?
They're just getting the preliminary plans together right now to get the bids and everything for it, so it's not gonna be this school year.
Okay.
But, once they get started on it, it's gonna,
Well, I know we have the expansion of the parent pickup area going on too,
We
so I
talked
just,
about that, yes,
yeah.
sir.
I just want to make
That's
sure
a-
it's,
That's next.
That's a good point.
okay,
No,
All
no,
right.
we have to coordinate all that so there's not all that congestion.
Yeah.
Exactly right. yes, sir.
okay, thank you.
And one other addition, Sam, you can elaborate on this a little bit. It should go fairly quickly since it's not a chiller project. It's gonna be the mini splits,
Yeah,
correct?
individuals.
right, right.
And that seemed to go a little bit quicker and cleaner at the previous schools.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Crowdis, you're on my left side.
I think we may have talked about it, but I'm not sure. So when the new AC system is in, will each classroom be able to be individually controlled, climate
Yes.
controlled? Okay.
Yes, each classroom will have a thermostat.
I had someone ask me that question, and I told them yes, thinking that we had talked about that.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's good and bad.
Say it again.
I said, and it's good and bad having the controls like that. I mean, sometimes they'll drop it all the way down, but if they're hot, they're hot.
Yeah.
We're there to cool them.
I guess we could.
It's good about them split systems.
Mr. Ford?
So I know that in the past, we've had options to use the Honeywell, the ones that you get a range of temperatures they can set them to. Maybe that's something we should consider in this bid or in this project, to where, you know, let's say the lowest they can set it would be 69, degrees, and then at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., it automatically goes up.
Okay.
You can program them a
And
lot
they're
easier.
programmable. They can be programmed.
So they're gonna,
If we get too much trouble, we can program them in and set it where it
so
stays.
the follow-up question or recommendation to that would be, in the past, some schools have had those programmable, but it was only programmable by maintenance. So if we can give those administrators the authorization or the rights to do that programming, that would be good too.
Good luck on that.
We can consider that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Thank you. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 14, the committee recommends the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Jeremy and Bruce Architects for plans and specifications for the construction of a parent drop-off driveway at Coteau Bayou Blue Elementary School. Establish a budget in the amount of $561,495. Funds to be derived from previously budgeted funds in the building fund, authorize the advertising of bids, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
So move Ms. Benoit, second Mr. Ford. Any public comments? Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Mr. Ford?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I just want to say, I'm very pleased that, not to say that we had put KOTO on hold in the past, but when we did prioritize those other ESSER funds for the AC, they were kind of like just underneath the lowest guy. So, and, you know, being an alum of KOTO Bayou Blue, I went there from kindergarten through 6th grade. I'm just pleased to see that my beloved school is finally getting some attention that it deserves. And the community is growing there, so hopefully it'll be around for a while.
And if I can add to that,
Yes,
and
sir.
I know we talked about this last time for the committee, but this recommendation 14 is so needed to get that traffic off of Country Drive, Country Estates Drive. It is extremely dangerous, and this is going to be a great alleviation of all that congestion.
So well overdue.
Yes.
Yep. Any other board members?
After we get the vote, I'd like to be recognized.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Mr. DeHart?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a special request. I'd hope staff and the committee would consider Evergreen Junior High. It's a very dangerous situation there, too.
Okay.
I'm talking about for the
For
future.
the, yeah, for the drop-off
At
and
least
that stuff too?
have some discussion
Yeah.
about it. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. It's a good point,
Uh,
good point. Yeah, because that's a dangerous road right there as well.
The sheriff and I spoke about that just yesterday, and he's got some very serious concerns. And don't get me wrong, we concerned about safety for everywhere. But he mentioned that, and I told him I'd make sure we at least discuss it.
Okay.
Okay?
Good point. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Recommendation number 15, the committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Orchestrate LLC for plans and specifications for the interior-exterior painting project at Legion Park Elementary School. Establish a budget in the amount of $250,000. Funds to be derived from previously budgeted funds in the building fund, and for the exterior painting project at the IT Annex building. Establish a budget in the amount of $100,000. Funds to be derived from the buildings fund. Authorize advertising of bids, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move, Mr. Crowdis.
Second.
Second, Ms. Benoit. Any public comments? Mr. Crowdis? Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Other board members? Mr. Ford?
So I'm just curious, and I don't know if Chris is here, but are we doing some security upgrades there too? Because I know that's always been a concern with all the sensitive equipment and data they have there. I think it would be a good idea if we did a few little security
Tweaks on
upgrades,
that,
maybe even
yeah.
just a small fence or something. I don't know. Something if it's in the works, if we can fit it in that budget, that would be great.
Okay, good. Noted.
Noted.
Oh, yeah, thank you, sir. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 16, the committee recommends that the board approve the substantial completion dated April 12, 2024 for the window and HVAC replacement project at Legion Park Elementary School, and ratify change order number 5 for electrical rerouting of main HVAC panel and additional 4-inch vinyl base for cafeteria walls in the amount of $1,447.38. Funds to be derived from American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, ESSER 3, subject to the punch list. Upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing, change order, and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
So move, Mr. DeHart. Second, Mr. Crowdis. Any public comments? Mr. DeHart?
No, sir.
Mr.
Thank you.
Crowdis? Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 17, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 7 for the building repair project in response to Hurricane Ida at Mulberry Elementary School in the amount of $9,841, demolition of 2 roof wall exhaust fans from Old Kitchen, funds to be derived from local funds, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
So move, Mr. DeHart. Second, Dr. Trahan. Any public comments? Mr. DeHart?
No, it's a good move.
Dr. Trahan? Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Recommendation number 18, the committee recommends that the board approve the substantial completion dated May 1st, 2024 for the building repair project at H.L. Bourgeois High School, subject to the punch list. Upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So moved, Dr. Cloche.
Second.
Second, Ms. Benoit. Any public comments? Dr. Cloche? Ms. Benoit? Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. And I think we should do it all over again.
Please.
Huh? Wouldn't you like that?
Please,
Okay.
yeah.
There being no further business to come in front of the BFT committee, the meeting was adjourned at 8:30 p.m. I turn the meeting back over to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Voisin. Item 8 on our agenda is the superintendent's agenda.
Okay, 8A1 is consideration of approval of a bus lease agreement between Bayouland YMCA, 103 Valhalla Boulevard, Houma, Louisiana, and Terrebonne Parish School Board. The recommendation is that the board enter into a bus lease agreement between Bayouland YMCA, 103 Valhalla Boulevard, Houma, Louisiana, and the Terrebonne Parish School Board effective June 7, 2024 to July 26, 2024 to provide bus usage for Bayouland YMCA Camp Splash Summer Camp, provided buses shall run during the normal operating hours on weekdays as needed, mileage reimbursement at a per mile fee equal to 50% of the cost of 1 gallon of fuel at the time of travel, with a minimum per mileage fee of $2.50 per mile driven. Provide and pay bus drivers approved by Terrebonne Parish School Board, provided all necessary insurance requirements are met, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
Second.
So move number, Mr. Ford, second by Mr. DeHart.
We do have a representative from Bayouland
And
YMCA.
was that so?
We do have a Bayouland YMCA representative here.
Comments, public?
Good evening, Angie Falgu with the Bayouland YMCA, 103 Valhalla Boulevard. I just want to thank y'all. You've helped us probably since as long as I've been there, and that's 19 years. So it helps us to get these kids on field trips, get them out, and, you know, we have a large facility, but it gets really small with 150 kids a day. So we thoroughly thank you for allowing us this opportunity.
And thank you for what you do for our
Yes,
Good to
kids.
see you again.
Any other public comment? Mr. Ford?
Yeah, I just want to.
Oh,
I
I'm
just
so
want-
sorry. We have
Oh, no,
another
I don't have
call.
a question. It's,
Come on up, sir.
Oh, Mr. Ledesma.
I take care of her business, but there was one we had today.
Please come to the mic, sir, and give us your name and address.
Leo Leday, 111 Barrios Avenue with Leday Insurance. I take care of Miss Angie's insurance. We do a bunch of these summer camps. We had a little problem the other day. They give us the driver, the serial numbers for the buses and the drivers. Some of the drivers had like 4 accidents. And what happens is it makes their insurance really expensive. So if we could vet the drivers for these buses that are assigned to these different camps that y'all allow the buses to go to, that would help their operations and premium for sure. And maybe yours. So I don't know who, I'm sure you got somebody who manages those buses, manages those drivers. But I don't know if y'all run MVRs on these guys periodically or what. But I assume they're not contract drivers, they're your employees? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we'll check that out.
Yeah,
Thanks for
just a
bringing that
point,
to
I just,
So I don't know the circumstances behind it, but it may be all that really wants to do that, that's extra work in the summer. I'm not sure. Sometimes we
And I
kind of get
understand,
caught in that
but
situation.
I'm just concerned that, you know, for y'all, that y'all have maybe some
Well,
drivers.
we're in the same position. Without them, we have nobody in
Right.
some cases.
And I know it's getting tougher to find
yeah.
drivers, and I get that too, I understand that,
Yeah,
but.
okay.
but
Well,
thank you.
thank you,
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
it.
sir.
All right.
Any other public? Mr. Ford?
Yeah, I was going to say actually that with the fact that we don't have summer school this year, and we have a lot of kids with free time and things that looking to do, and then bus drivers looking to work during the summer like they have in the last 3 years, I think is a good idea. But we can be a little more selective on who we put on those routes because of that, because we don't have summer school and we don't have to worry about
If we
those
have 'em,
people.
yep.
Yeah, so maybe that is something we should consider and look at, but I'm glad that you guys are stepping up and putting on that camp. I look forward to that every year. The last 3 years has been a challenge because we have had summer school, and I wish we had it again this year, but that was grant funded, so we're pleased to have you guys on board doing something. Thank you.
Mr. DeHart?
Ma'am.
Mr. Crowders? Okay. Any other board members? Any objections? None heard, so ordered.
Okay, number 2, matter bearing upon approval and acceptance of lowest bids received on supplies and disposables for the 2024-2025 school session. And I'll make a note that the next several are time sensitive, which is why they're on this agenda tonight, okay? So the recommendation for this one is that the board approve and accept lowest bids received meeting all specifications on supplies and disposables for the 2024-2025 school session from Daxwell Distribution, Houston, Texas, in the amount of $28,209. Pond Food Corporation, DBA Gold Star Foods Incorporated, Ponchatoula, Louisiana, in the amount of $57,088. Interboro Packaging or Packing Corporation, Montgomery, New York, in the amount of $2,058. Cintas Corporation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, in the amount of $21,084. Lafayette Restaurant Supply Incorporated, Lafayette, Louisiana, in the amount of $24,924. And Economical Paper and Janitorial Supplies, LLC, New Orleans, Louisiana, in the amount of $281,444.85. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. DeHart,
Second.
second by Ms. Benoit. Any public comment? Mr. DeHart,
No, ma'am, thank you.
Ms. Benoit. Any other board members?
I have a comment.
Mr. Cluche, Dr.
Just a
Cluche.
thought, and I know it's already been gone through, but just a thought. You know, I see several of these are from out of state, where we're getting this, and I wonder if maybe that is due to our excellent advertising we have in the home period. But if it would, you know, if there's a way to reach out maybe to more local, in-state at least, facilities, so we can be spending our money, our tax dollars within the state as opposed to out of state. But just a thought, you know. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Cluche. Your suggestion is well taken. Any other board members? Any objections?
Can use all of
None.
them if I can get.
Number 3, matter bearing upon approval and acceptance of lowest proposal received on linen service for the 2024-25 school year. The recommendation is that the board approve and accept the lowest proposal received, meeting all specifications on linen services for the 2024-2025 school year, with the option to extend the contract for an additional 2 years from Cintas Corporation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, in the amount of $15,500. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund.
So, Mr. Voisin,
Second.
second by Dr. Cluche. Any public comment? Mr. Voisin? Dr. Cluche? Any other board members?
Just got one question,
Mr. DeHart?
and it's not directed at anything but just a question. I have a concern. This has happened before on anything, you know, supply and demand, but I was just wondering why all of these things is coming, you know, late. If we could maybe do it earlier next year or whatever.
Yeah, so I can explain that, but it's a little complicated, but there's some, and Monica could probably help me with this, but there's a new obligation in her bids. It's called a
Okay.
UEI number.
Okay,
Unique Entity Identification Number.
okay.
A lot of the people that put the bids in for these several bids didn't have the number. So we had to consult with Catherine about,
Well-
should we accept or not accept, which delayed the bid. So we have no choice at this time. You got a great point. We would have done this probably last committee previously. Because of that issue, it was time sensitive, like I mentioned earlier. So we have no choice but to kind of put it tonight, so we can have all this stuff for the beginning of school. Does that make sense? Was I clear on that one?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
I
all right.
appreciate the explanation, because if any vendors are calling us and that didn't get a chance, to get awarded the bid, want to say, why y'all waited so late?
So.
And we can
yeah,
answer
yeah,
that question.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
so this,
fine.
this number is something that Monica
yeah.
discovered like recently
Well-
that needed to be included in the bid, so.
Things like that happen.
It's new.
Yes.
It's new to the bidding
Well,
process.
that's fine. I'm not objecting to
No,
the process.
but that's the best explanation.
Yeah,
Monica,
and that-
anything to add, or is that pretty clear? Okay.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
I've got a
that's
question.
understandable.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that not the tax ID number?
Mm-mm. It's not.
It's a different
It's a
number?
different number.
Nothing gets easier. It's always more complicated.
Any other board members? Any objections?
No,
None
ma'am.
heard, so ordered.
Okay, that was number 3.
Yes.
We're good at number 3. 4, matter bearing upon approval and acceptance of lowest bids received on kitchen equipment. The recommendation is that the board approve and accept the lowest bids received, meeting all specifications on kitchen equipment from Michael Blanchard Incorporated, Houma, Louisiana, in the amount of $620. Singer Hotel and Restaurant Supply, Harahan, Louisiana, in the amount of $1,148. Lafayette Restaurant Supply Incorporated, Lafayette, Louisiana, in the amount of $12,308. And Associated Food Equipment and Supplies, Alexandria, Louisiana, in the amount of $38,926. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. DeHart. Second by Mr. Voisin. Any public comment? Mr. DeHart?
No, ma'am. Thank
Mr.
you.
Voisin? Any other board members? Any objections? None heard, so ordered.
Okay, number 5, matter bearing upon approval and acceptance of lowest bid received on milk products for the 2024-25 school session. The recommendation is independent from the packet. I think you have it in your possession. It's this one here. Y'all see it? It's behind it, yeah, behind, okay. I'll read that recommendation. The recommendation is that the board approve and accept the lowest bid received, meeting all specifications on milk products for the 2024-2025 school session from LaFleur Dairy Products, 7334 LA 182, Morgan City, Louisiana, 70380. Funds to be derived from the Child Nutrition Program Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Crowders. Second by Mr. DeHart. Did you second?
Yes, ma'am.
Second by Mr. DeHart. Any public comment? Mr. Crowders? Mr. DeHart?
No, ma'am.
Any other board members? Mr. Ford?
So this has been an ongoing thing because it was, it went up for bid some time back, and I don't want to spit dates out because I don't remember exactly. But there were some questions that were brought up between the two bidders that had the exact same bid, and it was explained to me that there was a disqualification in the basically in the 11th hour for one of the companies that bid based on their business profile. And this is a situation where our council advised us according to that, so I'm not going to question that. I'm going to, support our council and always go with what their recommendation is. But I'm just wondering if there was something that we could have done, and maybe it's not in place now, but maybe we could do in the future, to where if we do have exact bids for 2 or more vendors, that we could possibly split that bid, because I think what's going to end up happening is, and I hope I'm wrong, but if we end up going to court for this, it's going to end up costing us more money than we saved with one or the other. So it's just I guess my question is, in the event that we have this in the future, if we have 2 vendors or 3 vendors or 4 vendors giving the exact same bid, can we come up with some sort of way to split that, to say, okay, well, if we're ordering 100,000 cases, 50,000 is coming from this, 50,000 is coming from that, that type of scenario.
Mr. Ford, let me look into it. So in this bid, there was a way to break the tie. So, but if we have that kind of language, we could just avoid all that. So let us look into the legality of that.
The reason why I ask is because I think, and this isn't something that I've discussed with anyone, but I think if we did, if there was a case to do that, then the following year, those bids would be a little more competitive. If they're saying, hey, so-and-so bid the same thing as me last year, maybe I should cut it by a couple of cents this year, and that'll actually benefit us in the long run, you know?
Makes
So
sense.
it's just something to consider.
And it was amazing that the bids were identical. I mean, I don't know if that's happened, Monica, before for milk, you know? So that was very unusual. Four decimals.
Yes. And they were exactly the same? Yes. Collusion.
Bravo, Mr. Crowder. Any other board members? That's a good suggestion, Mr. Ford, I like that. We may
I'm
have
not
to look
opposed
into
to
bid
that.
law
That's a great idea.
and, of course,
If it
board
fits,
policy
why not?
and make sure there's nothing stopping us in those places. We can change policy, but we can't change bid law, so we have to look into that. Any objections? None heard, so ordered.
Okay, that was 5.
That was 5. Number 6.
Thanks, Mr. Ford, on that one. Number 6, consideration of approval for flood insurance renewal. Recommendation is at your desk. It's one with the attached colored documents behind it, which Curtis will, I'll read the recommendation, Curtis, and then you'll answer questions or explain. You'll have it, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, the recommendation is that the committee recommends that the board authorize the renewal of flood insurance with the Lede Agency Incorporated through Wright National Flood Insurance Company effective July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, with an estimated annual premium in the amount of $192,886.
So moved. Second.
Second by Mr. DeHart. I missed who,
He moved.
I moved the motion.
DeHart and Ford. Thank you. Any public comment? Mr. DeHart?
No, insurance is not cheap, but we need
Ms.
the
Ford?
coverage.
I just wish there was a way we could get a kickback on this, like, if we don't use it, give us a portion back.
Good luck
Makes
on that.
sense, but yeah, this is something that we definitely need, and
Any
every
other
one
board
of us
members? Mr.
here
Crowders?
is feeling that right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ford.
So, just a general point, we've made, several board members have made comments tonight regarding the pricing of insurance. I think as a board and as superintendent and staff, I think it's going to behoove us to kind of really pay attention to that. That could begin to eat at the budget, you know, in the years to come. I mean, I can't imagine insurance prices, you know, unless some major things are done at the legislative level, insurance prices going down, you know. Just throwing that out there as something to kind of keep focused on and keep looking at and see how it affects our budget overall. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, I have one question. The Lede Agency, where are they located?
He's
In
right
Houma?
there right now.
They're local?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
good. That's good.
By the courthouse.
That's good.
Yeah, I had,
you?
yeah.
Oh, there he is back there. He's close.
He's even closer than right outside. He's here.
Dr. Trump?
Help you make some comments about what you're talking about? Sure.
Just come fill in the gaps with Curtis. Let Curtis get cranked up and.
Just to let you know, what you see in the green is last year's numbers. What's yellow are those schools that we are moving students around. The red would be like Ellender and Grand Calle Elementary are schools that are being torn down, and we are no longer have that policy, or we canceled it for this year. The blue is just showing a change, like we still have Bayou Black, no kids will be in Bayou Black, but we just lowered the contents, because we are moving some items out of it. So even with canceling Ellender, getting rid of Pony Shan, and things like that, we still went up. And the reason we went up is this is our first renewal under the new flood maps. So that's why it is so much higher this year than it was last year. Last year, when we renewed, the council still had not approved the new flood maps. Now that the new flood maps are approved, it's like FEMA now thinks everything's gonna flood. So that's why everything looks like it does this year. And to go back to kind of one of your statements, believe it or not, the only insurance that went down this year was our property insurance. Everything else went up or stayed the same. Mr. Leday?
So I'm Leo Leday, Leday Insurance. We've been in business here in Terrebonne Parish since 1910. And I feel your pain, I really do, because I have 30,000 square feet of property myself in Houma, Louisiana, in Terrebonne, and I've got the same problems. I've had to go, I mean, I've just gone bare on some stuff with wind coverage, drop flood coverage. The problem with the school board is if you want FEMA to come in and aid you if you're underinsured or no insurance, you're mandated to do this, and that's the problem. You're almost held hostage by FEMA to do this. I don't know what you can do, and maybe, I don't know if you can reduce some coverages, which you've done. I mean, they've done with Jack Moore and Mr. Contreras, y'all have done as much as y'all can with flood. You're just at the mercy of FEMA and this risk rating 2.0, and now these maps. And it's just ugly in Terrebonne Parish, it really is. So, I mean, if anything y'all want to do, I'm more than willing. I mean, look, I like the money and the commissions, but y'all have to function with a budget, and I get that, believe me. So anything that y'all can come up with that you want to make some changes to reduce coverage, I'm all about that for you. I really am. And so I'm here to help y'all do anything y'all can. And I just want to let you know that. Thank you.
So, when you say things to do, elevation of buildings, there's
No.
new schools that we're building, so
Obviously.
elevating that first floor, stuff like that, is that gonna reduce our premiums, or?
Yes, yes.
And so what do you have to do, base flood elevation, or
Yes.
1 foot above base
Well,
flood
I would
elevation?
go higher just in case the maps change again.
Oh, they're gonna,
I
yeah,
know, but
yeah.
it's, and this risk rating 2.0, they got experts looking at this and they can't figure it out. It's like smoke and mirrors, this new risk rating 2.0 thing. I mean, it's like, they just picking numbers on
I mean, yeah, because you look at what Ida did, I mean, that
Yeah.
wasn't flood damage, that's wind damage.
No, but I'm telling you, if that storm would have come in from the other side,
Yeah,
y'all would have had a lot of flood damage. I
Right.
guarantee you.
Yeah.
You're just lucky, I'm just lucky it came in from the other way.
right.
So,
Right.
anyway.
But I do notice that there's difference in the buildings, like Gibson's $250,000 building limits, but Grand Caillou Middle is $200,000. Why is that?
But it's the maps, I mean, it's all determined by the maps.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that determines how much we insure for as well?
No,
It has to do with one, you look at the base elevation, the elevation. You look at what type of building it is. For instance, we don't have any insurance at all in the south now. It's a new school, it's got a better elevation, it's got cement floors, cinder block walls, cleaning it out won't be that big of a problem.
Right.
So depending on the school, what kind of flooring you got, how high does the water have to be before it gets in? If you look at all that and then you look at the cost, like one of the schools we have $500,000, and that's because that school flooded before.
Yeah.
It cost us a lot of money. And so you look at what the expense is gonna be, and then you start saying, okay, more out of that monthly mill, bigger that premium is gonna be. Maybe I'll lower it down and just say, well, we cover it for $200,000 and take that premium, that it's what they call risk management. You're managing your risk, determining how much I can get for the value of where that building's located, what it would be to replace it.
And then I remember we talked with our FEMA representative who said, because, if FEMA's gonna come in on the back end, you're required to have a certain amount, you can't go below that.
Obtain and maintain insurance on whatever FEMA pays you.
Right.
So you have to maintain that forever, or if you just drop it, then you're on your own.
You're not eligible for FEMA.
Which is not a good place to be.
And that's what I'm saying, you've been held hostage by FEMA, basically.
Right.
And then the maximum you can buy under the first primary layer is 500,000 per building. If you want excess, you have to go to the private market to get that. I don't think FEMA mandates y'all to go buy the excess. You just mandate to buy what's available in that primary layer, which would be 500 per building.
Yeah.
See, and the history, like Terrebonne High doesn't have any flood insurance. And I don't know if there's any other schools.
Homer Junior High, you said.
Homer Junior High doesn't, Southtown doesn't. There's several places
Yeah, you
that
have some,
doesn't.
where y'all are not, just pay, they're not giving money to them where it may not flood. That's a smart move. Right. You know, but it just, but again, y'all have this whole Terrebonne Parish school, buildings there. And you got a lot of them in low-lying areas, you know, it just,
Right.
it is what it is. Again, I apologize, but I wish there was more you could do with that. Senator Cassidy was on the House, on the Senate floor just the other day crying about these rates for the people in Louisiana. And it just, it's going on deaf ears.
Yeah.
It really is. So,
Well, nobody wants to share the risk with us, I guarantee you,
so
so.
the only thing, like I said, if you can go back to, get a FEMA rep to come in and say, is there anything we can do that we can reduce these building coverages and still be in compliance with, the FEMA regs? That's what I would suggest you do. I don't know if there's any, I don't know if that's anything you can do, but at least something to investigate and look into.
Great idea. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Cloutier. My apologies, Mr. DeHart.
No,
You-
no,
You
no.
have any comments?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to add to what Mr. Curtis said. I'm going to give you a good, perfect example that's a little bit more detailed, and it's not just to be talking. But Grand Kai Elementary flooded 3 times when Liz Curto was principal down there. And what we had experienced, the cafeteria, all the equipment got flooded. They had water up to the windows. We had air conditioning window units that got messed up. Furniture, all of that had to be replaced. So there's so much out there, and that's the worst thing I ever saw. You know, I've had our family house before I was married. I'm just saying, we had flood insurance, but guess what? We didn't have the expense that schools have, textbooks, everything. And all I'm saying to you that, I know at that time it was required, if you're gonna get FEMA help, that you had to have insurance. And all I'm saying that's the first experience I did on this board, to see how much it really costs to replace that Grand Caillou.
And I don't
What
know if I
happened?
can get, but, you know, I've been fighting this for a few years, and I'd like to know what you've been paid versus what you've been paid in. Y'all collected a lot of money from
Yes, we did.
the flood. I mean, Broadmoor flooded quite a few years back.
That's
That
that's
was a
the
bunch of money.
$500,000.
Yeah.
coverage.
So, I don't know if you
Remember
have,
that
I don't think that.
boats in the playground, going across Broadmoor's playground in aluminum boats.
Right, I mean, so, again, you know, if you look at what you paid in over the years and what you collected, it's, I mean, I think it's almost close, so. You know,
Well-
but so where did you come up with that money other than insurance to repair that stuff?
After twice it flooded, the staff at our school board, we changed the walls, went down to the bare 2x4s, and we put some slate, you know, stuff to where next time it flooded, all we had to do was unscrew it, clean, and then put it back. So we learned from having a repeat of flooding. And no matter what school it would be, I'm just saying, all of the low-lying areas had that dilemma. So I'm just trying to share that as part of this information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeHart. Mr. Ford? You have any comments, though? Ms. Benoit?
Yeah, just a little comment. Mr. Crowdis mentioned that, you know, once it goes up, that's it. But I have a place in New Orleans, and after Katrina, and what happened there, it went up sky high, everything, but it did come down. So it doesn't necessarily stay up, and I think part of what we're seeing right now, and correct me, Mr. Leday, if I'm wrong, is we had that bad hurricane, and we've had a lot of claims in this area, and I think that that's what we're paying for now. And I think it's gonna come down. I don't think it's gonna stay up or go up higher.
Are you a betting lady?
No, I'm not, but I'm only saying that based on the history that I saw with
You're talking
Katrina.
about the federal government now.
Yeah, well,
You know, if it was the private sector, maybe, but you talk about the federal government, they claim they want to make this actuarially sound. It's impossible to do.
yeah.
It's gotta be funded with the federal government dollars. And so, I hope you're right, but I'll bet you $1 today, in 5 years, it's gonna be at least this or higher.
Well, I have a lot of friends that have homeowners and their houses are paid for. They're not buying flood insurance anymore. Because it's just so high, it's prohibitive.
Like I said, I'm dropping some of the flood I've had. I mean, it was a good thing to have it because you were grandfathered. When you go back, if you don't have it, then it's even more expensive. So I just was carrying policy with minimal coverage, just to maintain that for that. But I'm just looking at it, it's just not worth it anymore.
Right.
And the wind coverage, like I said, I'm my house, I got a liability and fire policy. I got no wind coverage on it. It's too ridiculous. Anyway, so again, I feel your pain. Anything y'all can do, that I would be more than happy to help you do that to manage this policy,
Yeah.
and all these policies. Thank you.
Mr. Crowder, you had some comments? No? Any other board members? Any objections?
Flood.
None heard, so ordered.
All right. We're good.
Item
Okay, number 7, personnel section, personnel actions for the period of April 26, 2024 through May 17th, 2024 is provided for you board members. That's an information-only item. And in conclusion of this agenda, I'd like to bring about item number 8. It's a matter bearing upon salary increases for coaches, information only. With this presentation, I'd like you to pull out these 2 documents here. So the reason I put this as an item on this agenda is because I'm getting a lot of questions from board members and also coaches as to when will they see an increase, how much will it be, all of those things. So I'd like to give you the history about this just real briefly, about this plan, and I'd like to officially propose it when we adopt the budget. I'd like you to see how it fits into the budget. So I'm not going to get into a whole lot of numbers tonight, just the process and the figures of where we're going to be having further discussion in the budget process. Is that fair enough? So with that said, we may or may not know how coaches are paid. This sheet is what we're proposing. Currently, coaches in our parish are paid a flat rate. There's no fluctuation or variation depending on their experience. So if a head coach is recruiting a veteran coach, they come in making the same money as a rookie or a brand new teacher, same pay, even if they're coming with 25 years of good, strong experience. They get paid the same. That's how we currently have it now. This system is an indexed system. So real quick, January 12th, Darrell Dillard, myself, and Matt Hodson met with coaches, athletic directors, and principals, high school and middle school. We got input from them. We asked them, would you prefer flat rate or index system? Unanimous, we'd like the index system because they understand the value of experience coming to the table and how much more money they can make as a veteran coach. Number 2, we asked them this. How do you see sports tiering or classified hierarchically compared to another sport? Like which ones are more revenue producing, which ones have more kids, which ones are more intense? Let's rank them or tier them. So we kind of went through that process. We did that. We also asked them, would you prefer to get your payment from coaching in one lump sum spread throughout the season or spread throughout all 12 months? It would be so much easier for us if we pay them during the season. However, for budgetary processes or budgetary reasons, they preferred throughout the year. So we can stick to that. We talked about a salary cap and what that would look like and why we have that in place. So with that said, let's look through this together. I just want to show you. The pinkish purple section is high school on the left. So the 3 tiers we've established that I'd like to propose to you officially at the budget meetings would be tier 1, 2, and 3 set up, where we have football ADs in tier 1, and you have like a tier 2 or second level coaches from basketball, baseball, volleyball, softball, track, soccer in tier 2, and the minor sports would be tier 3. That's everything from cross country to powerlifting. Okay? And then on the right, you see what the index would be associated with that particular coaching slot. And an index is simply a percentage of that teacher's base salary. Okay, so an AD would make 18% of his or her base salary at the high school level, 18%. Now, if an AD also does something else, well, they get that, and I could use an example at H.L. Bourgeois. We have an AD who's a AD and a head basketball. Well, he'd get 18 for AD. And if you look at tier 2 head basketball, he'd get 14. So combined, that would be a 32% addition to his base salary. Now, if you look at the very top, that's where the cap comes in. He'd be maxed out. It wouldn't behoove him to go coach financially golf. He could do it, he just wouldn't get paid because he's capped out. Okay, that's kind of how the cap works. Now, with that said, these caps are established in such a way that no coach at a high school level will make more than an assistant principal at a high school level. So that cap is very deliberate, that there's going to always be a variation. You won't make more than an administrator at the same level that you are. So a coach at 15 years, assistant principal at 15 years, you won't make more than them. Okay, that's the cap. Cap keeps a differential between those two groups. Okay?
Can I have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Just so I can understand it now. So it's on the base salary,
Yes,
but what if someone their base teaching salary?
yes.
So what if someone's been teaching for 10 years, but they've never coached before?
Doesn't matter, you go base salary.
Still base
Still
salary,
base
even though
salary.
they don't have experience
Right,
of,
right.
in that field?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So my follow-up question would be, because I was looking at the opposite, what if you have a coach that's a CECP coach who's not a teacher, and let's say they have 30 years experience coaching, you know, or even 5 or 10, how does that get worked
Okay,
in?
I don't have CCP in here, but what we're leaning to is a flat rate for CECP.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, sir.
My question is, what if you have an assistant principal who's also an athletic director?
So we have a rule that you can't do both. Administrators can't do either AD nor coach.
Okay.
Because of the time factor and the commitment to that job, it's not
Too much.
feasible. It's too much, yes, sir.
Okay, if you have an athletic director or head football coach, let's say the season, they win the championship and they're going up for playoffs and they do an extra, you know, going beyond that. Is there anything in there for that?
So by the time we do present this at the budget process, we'll have those factors built into it as well. For
Okay.
tonight, I don't have that, but yes. The answer is, we currently have that. You get paid per round of the playoff or per week of the playoff.
But that's what I thought.
That's not, I think it's right now currently $200 per week you
Okay.
get. So we talked about that at a meeting, if we want to make that more of an incentive or, and the debate would be, is it per week or per round of the playoff? Because different sports, football is a week.
Yeah.
Softball, you might play 2 rounds in 1 week. So that's still to be determined.
But if a football coach wins the championship and stuff and you know, has to, and competes higher, the athletic director and the head football coach?
Everybody associated with that
Yeah,
sport.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Just a hypothetical
Same amount
question.
too, not
Yeah.
graduated by
Okay.
rank.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just
So-
a question.
The next question is, what if, because this may come up, or it already has, what if we have an employee or someone that works in the district that's not a teacher? Maybe they work at a school, custodian, maybe they're SRO, something like that. How is their index gonna be considered? Is that still CECP?
I don't know that one. I don't know that one offhand. It would be no less than CC.
Good question.
Okay.
Which you wouldn't put it based on their base salary.
And one
Yes,
more
sir.
question. So let's say they're capped out on 2 sports, 32%, and then they win the playoff round, they're able to go above the cap?
They go above the cap with that, yes, sir. Good question. So on the right side is, the green is middle school. Middle school, you have less coaches, we have 2 tiers. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Couple of questions on this one. So, did I hear you say that, if a teacher has 10 years of teaching experience, but they've never coached a sport before, they're gonna get an index based upon that teacher's salary? But then if you have a teacher who's got 10 years of teaching experience and 7 years of coaching experience, they don't get any, there's no reward for the experience factor
Right.
there?
Yeah.
See, I would think, well, maybe we might wanna
Yeah.
consider some. You're not giving that guy that's got the 7, 10, 8, 10 years of actual coaching experience, you're not giving him anything.
Give it to me again. Let me understand I get it, but
Yeah,
one more
so-
time.
So I thought I heard you say that a teacher, I'm teaching history. I've got 10 years of history under my belt of teaching, but I've never coached a single sport in my life. Now all of a sudden I decide I want to coach badminton because it's
we don't
that-
have that sport.
It's not on the list.
I was about to look for it. You got-
I know it's not listed on-
How about wrestling?
Wrestling, okay. So now I want to coach wrestling. So, but then Mr. Smith is also coaching wrestling. Mr. Smith's been teaching English for 10 years, but he's been coaching wrestling for 7 of those same 10 years. Under this system, I'm going to get paid just as much as Mr. Smith, who has 7 years of coaching experience above
It's not
me,
bad.
and the same number of years of teaching experience. We're not rewarding the experience in this system, from what I can see.
That was my
We're
question too. but-
Yeah, we're rewarding the teacher,
Yeah.
the teaching position.
To me, if we want it, and I know we're limited.
You're gonna discourage the 20-year, those people will be discouraged from starting
Yeah.
in two, though.
Right.
It goes both ways. If I'm teaching for 10 years and I've established myself as a teacher, I'm ready to take that step, I started 1 year. I've poured into this school many different ways and multiple levels. I do understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
I do.
It's something to consider.
Let's, we'll think about it. How-
And then the other
the-
thing, the other thing I want to throw out there is, would we limit the number of sports that a coach would be able to coach? So for example, I could see in a situation there, Mr. Smith is gung-ho to make a bunch of extra money, indexed with each different sport. Yeah, are we gonna allow Mr. Smith to coach,
You're
football in Tier 1 and
You're
track in Tier 2?
you're limited only by the cap. There may be a situation where you coach 3 sports, and that third sport, you only get a portion of the percentage, because you're capped out. Yeah, you could do the math, I could be at 15%, 14%, and I could coach cross-country and I get 1%. If I wanna do that, if I'm passionate about it, or I've got a golf program and I really,
Okay.
and that's a drawback, but at the end of the day, so we talked to coaches about that, and they were kind of discouraged about that. We said, you're gonna make way more money than you're making now. That's the advantage of this system. And we didn't want to kind of get in a debate with them on that, because if we keep it as is, you're gonna make what you're making. This is a chance to incentivize you financially for what you do. The time you put in, it's all about time. They put in tremendous amounts of time. And you've heard that saying, right? What they get paid per hour? You do the math.
Oh, I
It's
know.
less than minimum wage, far less than minimum wage. This might get us at minimum wage, as much as it is, and beyond. But the time they put in is tremendous. Yes, sir.
So just speaking as a coach who just finished my 29th year coaching in Terrebonne Parish, not in the district, of
Yeah.
course, because I'm on the board now, but you just kind of know going into coaching position that you may
You're
not
not
get
gonna-
paid
yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
I coached 6 teams in the last 12 months and won 3 championships.
Yep.
But if I go to a school to try to coach over there, they're not going to consider that. Even though I've coached thousands of kids throughout the district and the state for the last 29 years, they're going to look at what's my teaching, how many years do I have in the classroom, and that's how I'm going to get paid. It may entice them to bring me on board because I have so much coaching experience, but I'm not gonna get paid any more than anybody else. And that's just how it is in education. But I will just say this, and I know everyone here understands this idea and they can relate. None of us got into education because we wanted to get rich. Not one of us here did. You know, I love what I do. I love being on the board. It's cost me more being on this school board in my career than anything, just because decisions I made on this panel have really hurt me. But I'm still plugging away at it, and I'm still interviewing every chance I get, even though I know I'm not going to get that opportunity. So I venture to say there's a lot of coaches out there just like me that are just eager to get out there and work with these kids and do some good and help them out. I just had one of the kids that I helped coach and taught got drafted to the NFL. I got another one that's coming through. He's a senior at LSU this year. He's potentially going to the NFL next year as well. So that's what gives me enjoyment. That's what gives a lot of coaches enjoyment. Now, getting paid extra is just a cherry on top. None of us get into that because we want to get paid. And I venture to say, with the exception of a couple of people that I know firsthand, I don't know anyone else that's ever got into coaching as an extra income type thing. They got into coaching because they have a love for that sport
Right,
or,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
for those kids. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Mr. Cross, point taken. Okay, got it. I just want to add this to this conversation. We're struggling getting coaches. We don't have enough, we're not filling coaching slots. Football, I mean, down the line. And sport like football is very difficult because you have so many kids, so many positions that you have to coach independently and specialize in, and one or two guys can't do it at the high school level and be competitive. See, and that's the point that we talk to coaches about. We want to, with this proposal, if it's approved, we're expecting success and playoff runs, not making play, but making deep runs into playoffs, like your wife. You know, we want to compete. So, what we did as well, I just want to run this one by you, not to get into this very deeply, but this sheet, we did some comparisons. Okay, so if you cross-reference these percentages by these different districts, and these I think are accurate. It was the latest we could find. You can see where Lafourche is at, Ascension's at. Assumption, if you look at the red one on the end, they are flat rates. They're not indexed in one school. If you look in the second sheet, you see St. Charles, Lafayette, and St. Mary. These percentages surpass these adjacent districts and others that are relative to our size, like a Lafayette and a I guess a St. Ascension. They're bigger than us, but we've surpassed them with our percentages that we're proposing. So we want to get to the point where we're not losing coaches to St. Charles, losing coaches to, just like we lose teachers to different districts, right? We want to have the strongest and best teachers, the strongest and best bus drivers, even if Mr. Ledee, what he brought up tonight, we have to look into that. But same thing with coaches. If we don't have coaches, kids don't have the success and the mentors that we should have for them. So I just wanted you to see this, and I wanted people to hear that we are proposing this, and we have time to make adjustments, but this is how we compare and what we're going to propose. Okay? Yes, sir.
I have one more comment, and thank you. Thank you for bringing attention to this. I appreciate that. And,
Yes, sir.
you know, I appreciate the fact that we definitely want to reward our coaches. You know, and I was thinking about the bonus that's going to be added to the teachers at the end of the year, and I'm glad we're doing that. And I keep hearing in the back of my mind our workman's comp costs going up by the amount we're giving bonuses and by the amount we're paying coaches. You know, but that's a hidden cost that's still going to cost us on our budget.
That's right.
That we may not be looking at when we look at this, but that is an additional hidden cost or invisible cost to what we're doing. But we still have to do it.
Yes, sir.
We're responsible to do it.
And with that point, Doc, when we do the budgets, we need to look at how it fits, and if it's feasible, how feasible it is, can we sustain it? All that stuff's gonna be revealed in the budget process.
I'm glad you said that. It's kind of, yeah, we've got a lot of,
Yep.
we've got a lot of budgetary issues to consider coming up in the next few years.
Yes, sir. That's all I have. Thank you.
I have one more question
Mr.
for
DeHart?
Ms. Armstrong. You said that this ratio thing, or this proposal, is gonna be above St. Charles?
So here's, if I can explain that one. Our percentages are gonna be higher, if this makes sense. But their base is higher than ours, so a smaller percent of their base still will pay them more money, even though our percentages are higher. Now, look at us in Lafouche. Our base, teacher base salary is way higher, and we're putting our indexes higher than their indexes. So it'll generate even more money for our coaches because it's drawing off of a larger base. St. Charles, we didn't meet them, although our percentages are equal or better because of their salary.
I just thought
Is that-
maybe the Mississippi
I don't know if I
River.
explained that well, but,
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Mississippi River. We just got the intercoastal canal.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm just saying, St. Charles is very wealthy because of the Mississippi River to do things that I wish we had the options to do.
So the only thing we beat St. Charles with is our bus drivers. Is that correct? Paying bus drivers?
Basically, yes.
You can put it that way, but if you look at it, of course.
But
That's a positive
That is a
thing.
positive.
Right.
Well-
And it's in on a positive note.
I can go on record as saying that, you know, and I hope someone from St. Charles is listening and watching, but in Terrebonne Parish, we don't cheat like they do in St. Charles Parish. And I have the proof,
Mute
and
that.
I know because I was teaching there and I had to deal with it myself, so,
On
so
that-
at least we're honest.
On that point, moving on to agenda item number 9,
Yes.
our legislative liaison, Ms.
Thank
Van
you.
Horn.
Moving right along.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Trahan. So as you all know, the legislators are still working in Baton Rouge, and so everything is not conclusive, and the report could have been very lengthy, but I thought it best just to talk about what's on the governor's desk right now. This is what has passed both houses, and so ready for the governor's signature. And these are all pertaining just to education, of course. So HB 47, that's Representative Edmonston, the Sunshine and Transparency for Health Exemptions for schools and students. HB 908, Representative Amity, the ban on discrimination of students based on vaccination status. These are all in other words, pro of what my statements are on these. HB 71 is Representative Horton. He requires the display of the Ten Commandments in public schools,
Where's that one
requiring the display of the Ten Commandments in public schools. It's on the
governor's
governor's desk. All of these that I'm talking
They're on the
about,
governor's
they've
desk.
all passed both houses, they're on the governor's desk. And I'm assuming he's signing these, you know. I'll let you know next
Okay.
month if he doesn't. HB 904, Representative Chavanet, do you know how to say that? Chavanet?
That sounds right.
Chavanet, requires schools and Bessie to report DEI summary reports to certain legislative committees. And I did look at the text in that. That is sort of complicated. I'm not really sure about that. They were pretty vague about what the reports are going to be, but you know what the diversity, equity, inclusion is. And so, but based on the representative that brought this, I'm thinking they're monitoring it to see if it's not out of whack, you know, pretty
What I
much.
heard on that is they're looking at the amount of money that's being spent for that versus what the results are.
Okay, so that's what the report is. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, SB 313, Senator Edmonds. This is the Gator Educational Savings Account, which we, you know, were fearful of passing, and it did pass. It's on the governor's desk to sign, where the money actually follows the students. The governor was in favor of it, so I know that it will be signed. HB 121, Representative Cruz, restricts the use of pronouns in classrooms. HB 122, Representative Horton, this is the discussion of gender identity and sex orientation not allowed in classrooms. HB 320, Representative Owens, repeals certain student instruction and teacher training requirements and authorizes Bessie to adopt policies requiring the inclusion of certain topics in such instruction and training. HB 334, Representative Amity, authorizes school boards to provide for chaplains to serve in public schools either as employees or on a volunteer basis. HB 125, Representative Baham, ups the penalties for battery of bus drivers. That might help us with bus drivers. HB 608 provides for the distinction between males and females and provides for protection for women and girls against sexual assaults and harassments committed by biological men. SB 357, Senator Seabaugh, there's going to be a deadline or some more clarity regarding state emergencies and when to terminate that. And I know we kind of faced that with COVID. And finally, HB 429, Representative Bryant, is a ban on use of imported seafoods in schools. So we have to use Louisiana seafood, pretty much, in our schools. And that's it. Those are the school items that are on the governor's desk for signature.
Thank you, Ms. Benoit. Being there's no further business to come before the Terrebonne Parish School Board, as of this agenda, the meeting is adjourned.
I'll second it.
Yeah, thank God.